Started, I'm blown away at how long it took for us to come together, man. But at the end of the day, we got it done. We did the boss program. This is my second time out here in Atlanta this year, and we both want to really capitalize on the opportunity of us being in the same location at the same time. There's a duality in our backgrounds. You know, we have very, very similar backgrounds, even though we come from different places. We've had the same experience, and it's a lot of people that are in your area, that are in my area, that can really identify with what we've done before that's helped to lead us up to here. The sticking point or the complication for some people is, what's the roadmap? You know, like, what's the game plan? How do we get from where we've been to where we are? And so for them, they don't exactly know where we are, right? We're in Atlanta, you know, we're doing the shooters camp. We've done the boss program. And then reality, when you get down to the bare bones of it, this is some secondary training that we are able to add to our arsenal of things that we're able to do. We're able to produce quality content now because, we've gotten to a program that has a path for us, that has a plan for us, that has a trajectory. There was a framework with a specific goal in place in mind. I really believe that decisions are the things that shape your destination. Where you're going is going to be strongly impacted by what you're doing right now. And I really believe that we're both a byproduct of that. You know, we came home, we had these elaborate ideals and visions about what our life would look like, and everybody has that. But the problem is they have trouble finding the clues that are going to lead them there. And unfortunately, let's be real, a lot of times people with the background that we have, we don't necessarily have faith enough in other people that they can give us information that's going to create a tangible outcome. Now, because of where we are right now, we recognize that that's not the case. We don't believe that. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in Atlanta.
You know, I'm listening to you talk, right? And I had all these words that I wanted to say, but I think the linchpin of what you was talking about is background. And I just want to spell it out because it's always the elephant in the room. In the background was overcoming trials and tribulations as youth, ending up in prison, and trying to put our life together post-prison, right? And I think the challenge in overcoming the background is being able to say it because of the stigmas attached to it, right? And I think that's one of the top priorities in the shift that we encounter. The first thing an individual has to do is find out who they are. Like, you gotta find out who you are. Then after you find out who you are, you gotta know that you have value. You know, it's like a diamond in the rough. It's all cloudy. It may even be chipped, right? But it's still valuable. And you gotta grab it, and you gotta polish it, and you gotta sharpen it, right? And iron out the flaws. And the programs that we were a part of didn't necessarily teach us content. It taught us how to believe in what was in us, to draw on our experiences, right? And bring it out, and how to polish it and shape it and put it forth to the ears and eyes and our audience. I think another thing that's important is, like you said, we made a conscious decision to seek something outside of ourselves.
No doubt.
That wasn't necessarily within our current environment, or we didn't have the ability to see it, right? And that took courage. And another thing after finding out who you are is having the courage to act on it. We both knew that we were connected personally and professionally through experiences, but it took us 3-4 months to put the foot forward to act on it. And regardless of what happened outside of us it's incumbent upon the individual to act upon the opportunity in front of them.
Man, I totally agree. I totally agree. You know, we've been talking about this connecting in Atlanta. Now, we didn't necessarily have a plan to connect this time around in Atlanta. I didn't even know I was going to be here, but I don't believe in coincidences. And just for my audience and as well as for your audience, I want to make sure that we include you all in our conversation by giving you more of our attention and our focus in what we're talking about. He's exactly right. The elephant in the room is we have checkered backgrounds. I've been incarcerated. He's been incarcerated. That's one of the many common threads that we have that has helped to shape this being a reality, us making the decision to come out, talk about what our past has been, but more importantly for us to discuss the framework that's going to be necessary in order for us to build the brick road that's going to lead us down to the destination. It starts with decision. A lot of times you hear people talk about leadership, and we don't necessarily understand what that means in that verbiage. You identify what it is that you want, and then you create a plan, whether it be you with yourself or you dynamically working out a plan with somebody else who's already walked the path with you to get to a particular destination. And that in and of itself is leadership. The very first person that you have to lead is going to be you. The next person that you're going to have to be able to lead is a person that reflects you, a younger version of you, a less understood version of you, one who has traveled the same path as you in terms of the elephant in the room that we're talking about. And, you know, just for clarity, there are so many different levels of incarceration. We've both experienced the physical version of incarceration, but more importantly, we've experienced the psychological, the mental portion of incarceration. Because unfortunately, a lot of people come home and they're still locked up mentally. And as a result, they're unable to pull the trigger on the executing things in their life that could make their life look totally different. It took us taking initiative and actually making a decision to have the experience that we've had, and especially the ones that have led us up to this one.
Man, you talked about a lot of like key things that a friend of mine and myself talk about, right? So my book is titled "Prisoner to Poet: Thoughts of an Incarcerated Soul," right? And that was intentional. Prisoner to poet, transition. I transition from a prisoner to a poet, and thoughts of an incarcerated soul, right? And like you said, our commonality was the fact that we were physically incarcerated, but people are mentally incarcerated, like their thoughts hold them back. They're financially incarcerated. They're incarcerated by bad decision, unhealthy eating habits, bad relationships. You know, and the duality or the parallel is to get out of those situations, you got to make decisions, because decisions are what place you in that situation. Another thing is we have to learn how to be patient. Like, you didn't just wake up 50 pounds overweight. You didn't just wake up $50,000 in debt. It was over amount of time that got you to that point. And it's gonna take that amount of time or more to get you out of it, but it's possible, and it's like one step at a time. When we talk about leadership, I think about, so I talk about fatherhood. I work with fathers, I work with dads with felony convictions, just because according to the trends, right, most individuals that end up in the system, had little to no father involvement. So if we're gonna curb that statistic, dads need to find a way to be involved. And so while I'm out there doing that, I had to think about like the time that I was spending with my little cousin, my daughter, and my nieces and nephews. Because a lot of times we be outside thinking that we like add value to the community, and by default, we sacrifice the time with our family. And And being a leader a lot of times mean that you got to think more than about yourself. You got to think like outside of yourself, and how your decisions affect the people that are up under your leadership. And that's important. That's important. And a lot of people like that I see, because I study it. The great leaders always think about big picture. And we have some people that have leadership roles that always think about themselves. And then they always have drastic outcomes.
Man, I totally agree. You know, I really believe that one of the pillars of leadership is exactly what you talked about, having big picture thinking. And so we're talking about vision. In order to be an effective leader, you have to have vision. As a father, whether you've been physically incarcerated or you haven't been incarcerated, you have a responsibility to have a vision for your family. And it starts by having a vision for yourself. You have to understand that you have to take responsibility for the role that you play in not only your life, but the lives that you impact. And so there's so many different ways to lead. You know, as a father and also as a husband, you lead not only in what you say, but more importantly in what you do, the example that you set for your children. You know, we talked about it earlier together, the vision of being a father as it relates to having a daughter versus having a son.
Right.
You know, we can teach our boys how to be men, but we can't teach our daughters how to be women. We can only teach them how to be ladies, so to speak, because we give them a better understanding of how they're supposed to be treated as women. Whereas we teach our boys how to be men in the doing portion of being a man, you know, by activity, by example. You know, can you speak to that?
Man, I can. So, you know, I have faith and I believe, right? And when my daughter came to live with me full time, I didn't know what to do. So I prayed every night and I asked for guidance. I was like, Lord, you know, give me what I need in order to raise her to be the woman that you wanted her to be when you gave her to me. You know what I'm saying? And I built a team around me, the village, to cover my shortcomings, because I could teach her how a man is supposed to protect her. I give you a simple example. Opening the door, right? I'm the leader of the house and I got it. One day she came home and told me her teacher said, men are supposed to open the door for women. And I was like, yes. I said, what else did she say? She said, that was it. I was like, you're supposed to say thank you. So it's about bringing it full service. Yeah, the man's supposed to open the door.
Yeah.
And then the woman is supposed to say thank you, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So when we talk about leadership, going one step forward, at times my house becomes the community house where her friends come and spend the night, right? And I noticed, because leaders observe.
That's right.
How they would look at her because I'm always opening the door for her, and how they would rush so I couldn't open the door for them. And I said, let me tell y'all something. I don't open the door for y'all because I don't think y'all can open the door for yourself. I know you can open the door for yourself. But it's my responsibility to open the door for y'all if I'm around y'all. If I'm not, you open it for yourself. But me opening the door doesn't mean that you can't do it.
Right.
And we have, like you said, we have to just really steer at a young age where we want our youth to go later. And it's the same thing like when you building a business.
Yeah.
Like you create that culture in the business and say, like, you know, this how we do things. You know, we got these goals that we're trying to accomplish, right? But at the same time, we humans and we understand that we dealing with real issues.
Yeah.
So while I have to hold you accountable, I'm gonna set safeguards in place where you don't burn out or you end up being resentful, and then the business suffer or the demographic that we serve suffer as a result.
Man, you know, just in being a man and being a father, I can't count the times on my hand when I've done things and I want a certain level of reciprocation. And when you don't get that reciprocation, you can build resentment. And being a leader, it's our responsibility to communicate what the expectation is. And when we do that, there is no resentment. There is no misunderstanding. Like you said, it comes full circle. And that's important, man. You know, I'm so happy that we took advantage of the opportunity to connect out here in Atlanta. I'm looking forward to us doing it even more so in the future. We're going to even be doing it remotely.
Right.
So we can make it continuous and consistent, man. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come to your platform. And, you know, I'm honored to have the opportunity to bring my audience to your platform as well, so they can learn more about exactly what you're doing as well as what I'm doing. And I look forward to connecting more in the future, man.
Yeah, I think what we're doing is big because we crossing lines. Yeah. You know, we crossing lines, and like you said, leaders lead by doing. It's something that I heard Bishop T.D. Jakes say one time, and it was about flight, right? Talking about pilots. And you know, when it's clear, they can look out the window. And when it gets stormy, they can't trust their vision. They have to trust the instrument in front of them, right? And sometimes, like when we lead either our families or, you know, our companies, or either leading the community, and we face the storms, we have to trust our instrument.
Right.
So let's build that instrument. Let's be that vehicle. You know, a stability that people can trust for information and get them through their storms.
Man, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, man. I'm Corshawn Boy.
I'm Devin D. Coleman.
We look forward to connecting with you all more and talking about these two important topics, whether it be leadership or
fatherhood.
We're going to connect with you. We'll talk to you soon. Peace.